Hey, good evening. It is a Tuesday night. What does that mean? It is another edition of On the Tee with myself, Anita Marks. And of course, we bring in my partners in crime. And that is John Mascari, head pro at Alpine Country Club here in the New Jersey area. Look at you. Wow. Wow. The crowd is going wild. And of course, our very dear friend and the woman who rounds out our crew, and that is Christina Thompson, owner extraordinaire, creator, CEO, president, you name it, of Golf for Her. So as we get closer to golf season, which I don't know about you guys, today I took my little toe and I stepped it outside, and then I said, "Oh, no fucking way," and I came back inside. So I can't, it's supposed to be 55 tomorrow here in the New Jersey area, but today, no bueno, not for me. I'm hoping this is the last day, right? I'm hoping that this is the last day of these temperatures, because golf will be here before you know it. So, where am I going with all this? You want to go on to Golf for Her. Check out what Christina has to get you ready for the golf season, because I always say, you want to be active and attractive when you play golf. You want to look at, when you go, it's the truth. When you go to the golf course and you know that your shit looks good, you know that you're gonna play better, right?
You feel good. Look good, play good.
That's what happens. And on a very, very serious note, I want to let our listeners and our viewers out there know that we're dedicating the show to a very beautiful and young woman who unfortunately passed away of cancer early this morning at 3:30. Her name is Andrea Evans. She passed away of cancer, and that's her all the way on the right. You could see her standing next to John. And this was a very special show that we did last year. Every year, this is our third year, by the way, on the tee. And each and every year, we like to have a show, and we bring in caddies. And we call it the Caddy Show. And so this was the Caddy Show. And the gentleman who is standing to the right of me is our very dear friend and caddy extraordinaire, Goose. One of the best caddies, in my opinion, in the country. He works here at Liberty National during the summer, and he is in Arizona during the winter. And Andrea was his daughter, and unfortunately passed away this morning. So we are dedicating this show to her and to Goose, because we love him so much, and we're so blessed that we had an opportunity to meet his beautiful daughter, and for her to come in studio and watch Goose do a show with us last year. So Godspeed, God bless, and again, we're dedicating this show to Andrea Evans. With that being said, and again, I know that's, I say this with a very heavy heart. I always like to toast to life as opposed to mourn death. So we are toasting, of course, and let's take a sip. It's always, we are toasting to Andrea, and we are toasting to Goose, and our prayers go out to them and their beautiful family. But with that being said, each and every week, Christina tees up for us, no pun intended, our show drink. And that drink will have some type of correlation to the tournament that is about to happen. And of course, this week, starting on Thursday, is going to be Bay Hill. And as we know, it's Arnie's tournament, but we've got the Bay Hill Hummer, and this is our show drink this week. Christina, break it down for us. What does this entail?
Yeah, so in honor of Arnold Palmer and the Bay Hill Invitational, we are skipping the iced tea lemonade combination for the show that bears his name. And we are blending up Arnie's favorite boozy beverage called the Bay Hill Hummer. So if you are looking for a drink to suck down while you're watching Bay Hill this week,
suck down?
This is the drink for you. Actually, it's one of Arnie's favorite alcoholic drinks. It comes from Actually, it's a recipe at Bay Hill, so you can order this drink if you had the opportunity to go to Bay Hill. The recipe has 4 ingredients. It's vodka, which is Kettle One. It's Arnie's favorite vodka. Dark creme de cocoa, brandy, and 2 scoops of vanilla ice cream. I added 3 and a little shavings of chocolate on top of it just to make it extra delicious. I used Haagen-Dazs vanilla ice cream. So I'm going to suck down this drink during our show tonight.
Again, with the sucking.
Can't be responsible for what happens from this point forward. So cheers.
I love it.
Put fucking shaved chocolate on your drink? Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, every drink should have shaved chocolate on it, but this
is it dark chocolate, milk chocolate, what?
Hershey chocolate.
Okay.
Hershey chocolate.
Right, when you guys figure that out, let me know. I'll be over here somewhere.
I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of creamy. Consider this a boozy milkshake. It's delicious.
There's nothing wrong with that. That would be dinner for me, though.
This is second dinner for me.
So again, that is our drink of the show, the Bay Hill Hummer. Guys, let's jump right into it, which, by the way, really quick, let me just mention that we're gonna have LPGA Pro Marina Alex on the show. She's going to be joining us around 7:30 tonight. So definitely stay tuned for that. It'll be our first guest. She's always on with us. She's from our area, our neck of the woods, which is always fun. And she's so badass. She's a rock star. So I'm really, really excited to have her on the show. Don't forget Annika Sorensen teed it up last week. Can you believe she made the cut? Unbelievable. She hasn't played in a PGA Tour even like forever. And she makes the cut. Unbelievable. Yeah. So we're gonna talk to Marina about all of that. But guys, let's recap as always before we look forward. The WGC was, as we know, this past week, and Morikawa wins it. A few storylines. Well, first of all, I love Morikawa. What a great time it is right now for the tour, right? A lot of young, exciting guys that are kicking butt and taking names, like Morikawa. You know me, I like Zalatoris. I'm calling him my ATM machine. But Morikawa, he just, by the way, he missed the top 20 by 1 stroke, but it's okay. I'm still putting money on him again this week at Bay Hill. But nonetheless, Morikawa, he wins it. And what I think what a really great storyline here, John, is that he reached out to Mark O'Meara as well as Paul Azinger, 2 veteran pros that, we know back in the day as well, kicking butt and taking names, for help, not only with his putting, but for his sand shots. So first and foremost, let's talk about the advice that he got from Mark O'Meara. If you can, John, explain what the saw putter grip is.
Okay, so yeah, O'Meara pretty much invented the saw grip, and what they do, and I actually have a club here, you'll hold it, and then you'll put your hand this way on it. So you're essentially putting your right hand, if you're a right-handed putter, inside the thumb and the index finger. And what that does is it kind of keeps the handle a little bit in front of the ball. So you're descending more onto the ball versus hitting up at it. And Morikawa felt that the putter head was a little bit in front through transition. So he went to Mark O'Meara and they spent about an hour together. And he convinced him to try this putting grip going into the WGC, and hey, it works. This guy put on a putting clinic this weekend.
But how difficult? Let's be honest, guys. Because how I'll go to play 18. I'll go to the range. If I'm there early, come on. I know you're going to rip me there. I'm usually like running to the tee box.
Have you ever been early for a round of golf? Ever?
Christina, stop it.
Christina, what Anita doesn't know is when we tell her to play golf and we're teeing off at 8:00, we tell her 7:30.
I know you.
So she gets there at 7:45.
I know, because I get there at 7:45. I know what you do. And you know what? And because I'm late all the time, I don't have a problem with it. It's fine. I don't get mad at you that you do that. I like that you do that. It's fine. It's kind of like Tom Coughlin time, right? If you're on time.
That's right. If you're 10 minutes early, you're late.
Right. Yeah.
You're on time. Something like that.
Something like that. But I find it really impressive. I think it's so hard to change something about your swing or change something about your game and then be able to go out and execute it like he did. I just.
So you got to remember, he did not putt well the week before. So it's real easy to make a change when you've got nothing to go back on. He'll do anything to putt better than what he did last week. So that being open to that makes it a little easier. Now, I think if he putted real well the week before and then was tinkering around, you might be like, dude, you putted great last week. Why are you messing around with this? But he putted so bad, it can only go up. So he felt more open, and O'Mara has made a career out of being a great putter. So why not learn from him? And boy, did it work out.
But you know what I really like about Colin? I mean, he's so good and he's so fun to watch. But I love the fact that he is reaching out to the vets on tour or to his the other players on tour and asking questions. I mean, and really inquiring about like what to play, how to play the course. I mean, he was spending time with Azinger on the putting green. It just goes to show he wants to learn, and that's something us as amateurs, we think we can just get up and in the morning and go play golf but we can't figure out why we're slicing the ball because we don't take the time. Well, maybe you all do out there, but I don't take the time to really figure out what I'm doing wrong. I don't have time for it, but lessons and taking time and being inquisitive is so cool. And I love seeing that about him. And I think that is one of the characteristics about him I love. And he takes it very cerebral, and he's a real deal. I think he's a full package, and no doubt he has a big career ahead of him. So he's super fun. So it was so cool to see him win this weekend.
If you could see at the bottom of the screen, if you've got questions for any of us, me, John, Christina, by all means, post them on our message board, and we definitely answer your questions at the end of the show. So please feel free to do so. It wasn't just Mark O'Mara that he got lessons from. He also reached out to Paul Azinger, who is, wouldn't you say, John, like the best sand wedge?
Yeah. One of the best bunker players in the history
in the history of the game. When I worked for the PGA Tour and I produced a show called Inside the PGA Tour, this was years ago when I lived in Jacksonville. I did a sand instruction video with Paul Azinger at TPC Sawgrass. I mean, he's unbelievable. So what's so great about Paul Azinger and his sand game that you feel helped Morikawa this week, John?
Yeah, one of the things that they worked on was really engaging the bounce of the club. And I'll go back to my club here. So a sand wedge has two parts. It's got the front edge, right? And then it's got the back edge, which we call, this is the leading edge, the trail edge. The bounce of the club is that angle right here. So he wanted Morikawa to use the back end, use that bounce a little more instead of digging into the sand this way. So he had the ball played up a little bit more in his stance, and he's utilizing the bounce of the club to splash the ball out of the bunker versus tends to be a little bit digging sometimes. So little tip for everyone out there, when the snow does melt, especially here in the Northeast, and you get into the bunker, you almost want to feel like you hit it with the back part of the club. Hit the sand with the back part, and that'll splash the ball out.
I need an entire month in the sand. I'm not kidding you. My ball goes into that trap, and I become paralyzed.
Well, no, I think because I've played many rounds of golf with you. You mentally psych yourself out. Yeah, you go in the sand, Christina, and you're like, oh shit. Where I go in the sand and I'm like, I got this. Like
it's not a hard shot when you understand how to play it correctly.
Listen,
like you have to get in that sand like you own it. Like it's your beat.
Listen,
Christina, let's do a sand lesson on video, you and I.
Done. Because let me tell you something. When it was during COVID last year and we were playing golf, and one of the COVID rules was if your ball goes into the trap, you can take it out. I want COVID rules all the time.
Well, I mean, let's understand. Let's understand. Like just to clarify, the reason you were able to take it out was because up here, and I'm assuming I mean, listen, every state was different, right? But up here in the New Jersey, New York area, there were no rakes.
Right.
Clubs were not allowing rakes. There were no rakes, and you weren't allowed to touch a rake, and you weren't allowed to touch a pin. So that's why they were letting you take your ball outside, out of the sand, because there was no rake for you to rake after you hit the ball. Just FYI. But excellent point, Christina. Excellent point. Another thing I want to mention before we move on, and that is Morikawa. Obviously, and I do want to mention this, that on Sunday, how many players on tour out there were wearing red shirts and black pants in honor of Tiger Woods. It was really unbelievable. And a number of players acknowledged that they were playing with a heavy heart. Morikawa, let's be honest. I mean, Morikawa grew up, Tiger was his idol, like many of these young guys that now are on tour. But also his grandfather passed away this past week. So it was kind of a double whammy for him. And there was also another tournament that took place in Puerto Rico, and Brandon Grace won that tournament in Puerto Rico. And meanwhile, he's playing with a heavy heart because his father was battling COVID, the coronavirus, for over a month. And unfortunately, Brandon Grace lost his father prior to the tournament. So, how significant is that? How amazing is that you've got, Brandon, who loses his father and goes out and wins in Puerto Rico, and Morikawa loses his grandfather and of course wins in Bradenton, Florida. So, God bless these two gentlemen and their family. Godspeed.
What a finish for Brandon Grace to win that tournament. Holding out of the bunker on 17 and then birdieing 18 to win. Shoots 66 in the final round. I mean, that gets him into the Players. It gets him into the PGA. It gets him into this week at the Arnold Palmer. It gets him into the Memorial. That's a big deal,
I had him to win, by the way. I got him in, I want to say, I put money down on him on Wednesday night. I think I got him at like 22-1. Thank you. Yeah, it was.
That deserves
It was good. It was good. Hey guys, let's talk some other storylines coming out of the WGC, and that's Brooks Koepka, right? He wins, as we know, in Phoenix, and the last few weeks, I'll tell you what, dude's back. I'm no longer like, gonna wait and see. Is the knee gonna flare up again? A lot of times, a lot of times we talk about Brooks Koepka, we feel that when he plays in a lot of tournaments, he's using those tournaments just for practice, target practice, right? Getting ready, because all he really cares about is the majors. 12-1. Those are the odds right now for him to win the Masters. Guys, I don't know about you. I really feel he's back. I think right now that's good money. That's good money, right? Brooks Koepka 12-1. What I've seen so far, I'm going to lay some money down on him at 12-1 to win the Masters. John, let's start with you. Your thoughts on what you've seen from Brooks Koepka so far?
Boy, I like what I saw from Brooks, right? I know his neck has been bothering him a little bit. He's getting some treatment before the round, but just super strong, super confident. And man, big game Brooks is getting ready. And you touched on a little bit, Anita, about how he's always thought to be kind of laissez-faire with some of these tournaments. But if that's the case and he's just kind of going through the motions, watch out in the majors, because he's playing some great golf. I am buying Brooks Koepka right now. I'm with you. Definitely putting some money. 12-1. That's only going to go down.
I believe so. Christina?
No, I mean, listen, there's no denying Brooks has game, and he's been injured and he's been struggling. And I'd like to see him have a good finish this week in Bay Hill before I start jumping on the Koepka Masters train.
Wow.
But here's the really.
I thought she'd be right on that train.
Really, Miss? Yeah. Can I touch your bicep? Okay.
I'm changing it up a little bit this year, keeping you all on your toes.
But here's the thing, Christina, if he goes out and he has a really good showing at Bay Hill this week, those odds are going to go down. I wouldn't be surprised those odds go down to like 8-1, 9-1, 8-1. So my point is, I'm in. I'm sold already. Like, I'm sold before Bay Hill. You want to wait, and I get it, and I respect that. You're not sold yet. Fine. And John made an excellent point. Dude's dealing with a neck issue. In fact, I bet against him on Sunday. I put money. I'm trying to think who did he play with on Sunday? I forgot. The last round matchup, was it Rory? Who did he play with? Whoever he played with.
Rory played with Patrick Reed, didn't he?
Whoever he played with on Sunday, I put money on him to beat Brooks because I heard that he was dealing with some neck issues, and I lost. So again, I'm sold. I'm sold.
Snapping necks and cashing checks.
There you go. There you go. As I mentioned before, a number of the players on tour on Sunday, they wore red, not only just the PGA Tour, but the LPGA Tour. We're going to talk with Marina Alex about Sorensen, and she wore red as well. I'm just curious. Do you think, as we know, and Christina, you can answer this better than most, because you own Golf for Her, and you have a number of women on the LPGA that wear your brand. Do you feel this was a matter of like Nike and Puma and these companies like sending them stuff to wear on Sunday, or do you think they packed their bag on Sunday anticipating to wear red, anticipating to unite and do this together, or was it something that did you have any of your ladies say, hey, can you send me something red for Sunday?
No, I think, I don't know what the communications were on the PGA and LPGA Tour. And I'm sure it was a very casual, hey, this happened on Tuesday last week while all the players they're already at the event. So, the players, they pack, but a lot of the guys, I'm sure they have sponsors that are on site who can, whip up a black and red outfit for them last minute. There are some players who, if you notice, did not wear black and red. And it wasn't because like of a diss to Tiger. Is some of their sponsors, they have sponsor responsibilities to wear certain clothes on tour, especially on Sunday. So some of them didn't have clothes. Some of them sponsor obligations prevented them from doing so. But I think if they had an outfit, early in the week, like I said, I don't know what the communication was on tour, but it was really cool to see a lot of the players on the LPGA and PGA Tour throw on red and black to give a shout out to Tiger. And as you guys all may or may not have seen, Tiger saw that and he recognized that and he tweeted out a note of appreciation. I don't know if we have that clip of his tweet and his note to the fans.
Yeah, I have it. I have it right here. I'm going to read it right here. Again, this is the tweet from Tiger. It's hard to explain how touching today was when I turned on the TV and saw all the red shirts. He said, after several players paid tribute, of course, by wearing his signature color during the tournament, to every golfer and every fan, you are truly helping me get through this tough time. So that was his tweet.
It just goes to show how, we've talked about Tiger so much. I mean, I actually had Sherry, one of the women that works for me, had said to me the morning after our show, she's like, do you guys know Tiger? And I'm like, why? She goes, the way you talk so passionately about him and you care about him, it's as if you know him. And I think that's what Tiger does. I mean, we know Tiger, we follow him, we care about him. And I think it's cool how the golf community comes together when someone is down to help them up. And I think it's super cool that everyone did that.
Really quick, because we're gonna bring Marina Alex in just a hot second, but just a quick update in regard to Tiger Woods, and not sure how many people out there have read this, but the Post is reporting, and other sources are reporting, that forensic experts say that he fell asleep at the wheel, quote unquote, and this is the forensic expert that was quoted in the Post. To me, this is like a classic case of falling asleep behind the wheel because the road curves and his vehicle goes straight. His name is Jonathan Cherney, a consultant who serves as an expert witness in court cases, told the news outlet. So, and I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the fact that there was no skid marks and what have you. And I mean, obviously these guys are experts. I know it was really early. What was it? 7 a.m. in the morning, right?
Right.
So, are you hearing anything else, guys, in regard to Tiger Woods?
No.
I saw that in the Post. Listen, I take everything I read in the Post a little bit tongue in cheek sometimes, but that seems a little odd.
Tiger survived the car accident. He could tell us what happened, right? So I'm assuming at some point he's going to be like, this is what happened. I fell asleep, or I, got run off, or I just feel like he's here to tell us. So I'm sure all the speculations will come to an end when he hopefully is on the shares.
Falling asleep at 7:30 in the morning behind the wheel seems a little odd.
I'm not buying that one. But.
So, I mean,
all right. Well, we'll stay on top of this and bring you the latest each time we have the show. But without further ado, let's bring in our special guest, and that is Marina Alex, stud.
Hi.
Hi on the LPGA Tour. Welcome in. This is so cool because normally you're on with us on our radio show, but this is like we finally get to put like a face with a voice and a name. This is awesome. Thank you so much for spending some time with us this evening. That's great.
I'm in my lovely hotel room in my pajamas.
Hey, you and Jody
for this occasion.
you and Jody. Hey, if Jodie Foster could win a Golden Globe in her pajamas with her wife and her dog, you're welcome to do our show in your pajamas. It's all good. So, Marina, I'm curious. Let's, so much we want to get into, but this is our first chance talking to you since the pandemic, and if you can kind of share with us what has the pandemic, how has it been for the women on tour? How did the tour handle it? How is it now compared to, let's say, 6 months ago? Kind of share with us what your experience has been dealing with the pandemic and playing on the LPGA Tour.
Yeah, I think it mirrors basically what everyone is going through kind of in their own way. We had a period of time where it was a complete shutdown, which essentially everyone was in a complete shutdown. I mean, the months of March, April, May was very limited movement for everyone. We had no tournaments. The PGA Tour had no tournaments. Most sports weren't even happening, at all. I think everyone kind of resumed play or resumed their getting back to their lives, if athletics, in June and July. So, and we kind of followed pace with that. I mean, the LPGA has been doing the best they absolutely can with having tournaments, being flexible to our sponsors who in maybe some ways, can't have an event for financial reasons or our Pro-Am makes up a very big portion of how we raise money for our tournaments. And if state restrictions, don't allow so much gathering and allowing people to be in close proximity, then we need to adjust. And if we need to postpone events or temporarily cancel them, we've been doing basically everything we can to keep our sponsors who really keep us pushing going forward financially, keeping them happy and, keeping them coming back, because much like everyone else, in business right now, it's hard to push the envelope and think that when things resume and get better, that they're going to be there with you, to continue onward. You don't want to put someone in a compromising position. And I think that's how we've kind of handled all of our sponsor relations. It's just making sure that we're doing right by them, so that we can continue, our future with them moving forward.
So, Marina, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So this week we're heading into Ocala. So we're heading down to, that's where you are right now for the tournament this week.
Yeah.
This is your first event of the 2021 season.
Yep.
You excited?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to be back.
We're excited. So can you give the listeners a little bit of a background on the Drive On Championship, kind of the mission, because it's a pretty cool mission that, and like the Drive On hashtag and the branding behind it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So the Drive On tournament started, we had it last year at Reynolds Plantation in October, and that was very much a LPGA put together this tournament to kind of highlight the incredible stories that we have out here. Like the Drive On hashtag and mission has been part of our tour organization for the past couple of years. And every few months, there's a release of some kind of storyline regarding a player. And I think we're maybe branching a little bit more into, there's some really cool caddy stories out here too. But right now they're focusing on players. And it's highlighting empowerment, diversity, overcoming, if there's been struggles in girls' lives that they're been willing to discuss. And I know last week there was a really incredible story from Madeline Sackstrom out about the things that she went through in her childhood, which no one knew about, until the release of that story, and just like what an amazing career she's had despite of the difficulties that she's faced in her life. And I think that's what really the Drive On hashtag is trying to show all of the viewers out there and the people that are fans of women's golf is like, there are more than just golfers. Like everyone has stories, and some stories are more powerful and compelling than others. Not that everyone's isn't, but there are some out there that are really just, when you listen to them and you hear, you know, where they started and where they are now, it is truly impressive. And it's nice to have a tournament, you know, dedicated to that. And that's the point of this. It's LPGA run. You know, we don't have, this week we do have a presenting sponsor, but it's very much focused about us, and it's very internal. And I like that.
Yeah. You know, I follow the LPGA, and I encourage everyone out there to follow the tour, learn the stories. You know, there are, like you said, there are so many great players out there that have come from so many different backgrounds and challenges. But I can't help but also look at, you know, the Korda sisters right now.
Cool.
I mean, as far as like players that are out there, families to watch.
Yeah.
And listen, I don't know what's happening in the Korda household, what their parents are feeding and drinking them, but whatever they are, they should bottle it because I want to buy it.
I know, and their brother is playing fantastic tennis right now too. So the three quarters are absolutely killing it. And I think it may be just they're feeding off of each other, which is incredible. You know, Jess has obviously been a very solid golfer her entire career. Nellie's been out a few years now, and Nellie's really becoming, you know, I mean, one of the best players in the world at this point. And I think it's pushing Jess a little bit as well, which is good. But then you have Sebi, their younger brother, who's playing tennis, and now he's getting into Grand Slams, and he's also crushing it. So I think they're kind of just all feeding off of each other's, you know, good energy, and they're a competitive household. So I think they all want to maybe outdo each other.
Yeah.
What
is our benefit.
If you can kind of like, you know, assuming you've been around them, right? Like, I just, you know, I was around Venus and Serena early on, right? When Venus was really it on tour, and Serena was just starting to play and just starting to get good. And you know, we heard like, oh, you think Venus is good? Wait until you see Serena. And man, Serena took over, and there was no looking back. And
it's kind of a little bit of that was kind of the chatter, I think, when Nellie first came out on tour. It's like, yeah, I mean, and they're both fantastic players, but Nellie is every bit as good as Jess. And I think only time will tell, you know, in terms of like the length of her career and how long she wants to play and all that, like where it nets out in terms of, you know, performances, who is the better Korda, but they're both, you know, very much like Venus and Serena. They're both incredibly talented.
John, do you have a question?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. You know, here we are talking about all these great stories, and Marina, you bring up a great point with how the LPGA Tour is doing so many great things. And I attribute a lot of that personally to longtime commissioner Mike Wan, who has done some tremendous things turning around the LPGA, especially financially. But like we said, telling these great stories that are out on tour. He's now going to become the new USGA CEO. Tell us a little bit about your interactions with him and what kind of leader you think he will become to our governing body of golf in the United States.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I don't really know a ton about the USGA and how they run and operate, and how it is different from the LPGA Tour in terms of its like internal structure. But I think that he'll bring a very different perspective because of the fact that he has been working on our tour for so long. I mean, you deal with different challenges out here. The issue of inclusion and diversity and the sense of, you know, women's equality and empowerment has been something that we've been fighting for, you know, for years. And I think that just understanding a little bit, if you want to call it the underdog, it's not quite, I don't like to use that term, but just to know that, you know, when he goes to the USGA, I feel like they just feel like, it seems historically, they're always kind of like on the top of the golf food chain in that regards. And I think he'll bring a perspective of like what it's like for everyone else, you know, that's not working at the top. And I think he'll just be able to bring a little bit more of a down to earth perspective, and that I think that they do need a little bit, and just make golf a little bit more relatable. Because I feel like they don't do a good job of that, to be fair. There are some things that are a little bit antiquated at this point that I feel like with a different perspective, which I hope he can bring, will kind of just loosen up some stuff, and in a good way. I mean,
yeah, I think that's a great point. Antiquated is a perfect word.
Yeah. There are some good things about, traditions and histories, but then there are some things that, I think you don't need to live and die by it, and you can still kind of preserve the great things that golf has to offer, but also just kind of roll with the times too.
So now that we're going to have a new commish over at the
Yes.
LPGA, are there, I don't know, they haven't announced anybody yet, correct?
No, and to be fair, I'm not even saying this because we're on this. I'm very much in the dark. I know that there is a search process currently going on, but the players don't really know anything at this point, and I don't know when that time will come, to be honest.
Well, I can say just from being a fan of the LPGA for so many years, he's leaving the tour in a much better place than he found it. So
yeah, absolutely. And we thank him for that. And we're just hoping that we, get the right person in there to continue kind of heading towards where we need to go.
Marina, before we let you go, I want to get your thoughts on Annika Sorensson and her teeing it up last week.
Pretty cool.
Just the mere fact that she made the cut to me is
13 years of no competition and made the cut, which is really, really impressive. Like, I don't know when you'll ever see that again, to be honest, on any tour, LPGA, PGA. I don't know. I mean, it's a really cool thing to think about. I'm not really sure what her plans are this year. I mean, she did play in the Diamond Resorts, which I was a little like, that's interesting. And then when I saw that she had entered like Nona, home course, I'm like, oh, I wonder if she's trying to get ready for something later in the year. Like, I don't know, maybe if she's going to try and play the U.S. Senior Women's Open. I'm not sure where she's at eligibility wise on that, but maybe she's trying to get her game in shape. I don't know.
Well, I was watching a few of her interviews, and she did mention that she would like to play in Connecticut later this summer. So
yeah, so those were two, obviously last week, and then Diamond. Just trying to get a little bit of the competitiveness back, which it's clearly hasn't gone very far. So it's really cool. I mean, the LPGA is in the most competitive place it's been since I've been on tour. So to make the cut is, it's no small feat. It really isn't. Very impressive.
Yeah.
And before we let you go, of course, would like to get your feelings and your thoughts in regard to Tiger Woods. Where were you when you heard the news?
It was wild. What I was doing a little yoga outside, and I was just like really relaxed, and I turned my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I was going through like a 20-25 minute, just like needed a minute, and then I pick up my phone and I had like 45 messages, and I'm like, what is going on? And then I'm like reading, my friends are texting me, whatever. And I'm like, this is wild. And I turned on Golf Channel, and it looked terrifying, to be honest. I mean, it really did. Obviously very lucky to be alive. I know, the injuries he sustained. In terms of what that means for him, I have no idea. I mean, knowing him, he'll probably be back next year, to be honest. But in Tiger fashion, we all hope that he is. But just more than anything, I mean, hopefully he is happy and healthy. I mean, it's tough. He's been through a lot. His body has been through a ton. I didn't quite realize how much surgeries and things he's been through over the years. It's just really hard to put yourself through that physically.
Do you feel like, so much, right? Like this whole past week is so much conversation about Tiger Woods. And you don't want to think like he'll never tee it up on tour again, but there is that possibility.
There is.
So the conversation has been, what has Tiger meant for the tour? What has he done for the tour? What do you feel Tiger's done for the LPGA Tour? Has there been any flow in regard to?
I don't know. It's tough to say. I think he's just made golf a thing. Like, he's made it cool. He's made people watch it. And I think that flows everywhere. It doesn't just flow to, the PGA Tour. I mean, if you ask a lot of us, we have players on the LPGA that are, veterans or older than us that we've probably watched growing up. But honestly, almost everyone's going to say Tiger inspire them to play golf. I mean, you'd be shocked if that's not like 99% of the answer. So whether he directly, has any kind of workings with women's golf per se doesn't really matter so much, because he's all made us pick up the game, right? And then you have the product that you have just because you have more people wanting to play, whether that's men, women, young boy, young girl, doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, he's reaching everyone. So that trickles down into us, and you have more talent out here because you have more people interested in the game of golf. And I just don't think, man or woman, there may not be anyone ever that is going to have that kind of outreach in golf again. And he has changed the game forever. And let's just hope that we can continue to grow it, maybe without his continuous presence. Because just like Jack and Arnie and Gary, they're not, I mean, they're around, but they're not, as they get older, they're not around all the time. So you have to kind of like carry on the traditions and carry on like getting people into golf. And we're going to need to pick up the slack for sure on that end.
Well, we so appreciate you joining us on
Thanks.
our show. Again, it's awesome to see your face. I know each and every year you call into our radio show. So this is really cool. Thank you so much.
Good to see you guys.
You got it.
Bye.
Bye-bye. She's just her. She's just so awesome. I know you love her. She loves you too. You can see that. She's just so freaking cool. I want to play golf with her. Can you make that happen, Christina?
We can try to make that happen. But she's awesome. She's such a great ambassador for the game, and she's been getting really involved in a lot of levels at the LPGA. So listen, and she's a Jersey girl. So us Jersey girls need to stick together, and it's just fun to see her career and just to be a part of her journey and to watch her go, from Symetra Tour, go hit the LPGA, win her first LPGA championship, and then be able to watch her play on the Solheim Cup team in 2019. So the girl's career Marina's just getting started. So lots to watch this season.
We'll take her to Alpine Country Club. We'll tee it up at John's.
She wants to play Alpine, John.
I know. Well, we're going to play this year, obviously, with better circumstances.
Make it happen.
All right, guys. Let's dive right into the tournament this week, and that is Bay Hill. You already got your drink, right? The Bay Hill Hummer.
There's not much left. I need another.
Nothing but ice cream left.
And so who do we like? I'm going to share with you and Brett. If Brett's producing the show behind the glass, we'll see him towards the end of the show. Again, if you've got any questions for me or Christina or John, by all means, post them on our message board. Brett will tee them up for us before we end the show. So Brett, if you could pull up both of my DFS lineups. There we go. I love me some Victor Hovland this week, man. He's playing such unbelievable golf right now. He's got 6 top 10 finishes in his last 7 starts, and his metrics are just really ridiculous. First in strokes gained in ball striking, 3rd off the tee in his last 24 rounds, 6th in strokes gained tee to green, tied for 22nd on approach, 18th in par 5 scoring and birdies or better this season. And those are a lot of the metrics that you need to be at the top in regard to the rankings in order to score well at Bay Hill. And he checks all the boxes. Hatton, again, expecting him to come in and put together a valiant effort to try to defend his title from last year. I also like Rory, Zalatoris, of course, again, my human ATM machine, he's going to be up there.
I like this Keegan Bradley. I want to know where this Keegan Bradley pick is coming from.
So Keegan Bradley,
the trash can.
I think he's a sneaky good play. Second in, I'm going to share metrics for you right now. Second in strokes gained on approach, 45th from 200 yards out. And apparently that's a metric you want to look at. That's going to be the approach shots from 200 plus yards out. 3rd in ball striking, his last 24 rounds, as well as 9th in tee to green, tied for 18th in greens and regulation, tied for 50th in proximity to the hole, and tied for 39th in sand saves, as well as 34th in driving accuracy, and tied for 22nd in par 5 scoring birdies or better. So again, this is a dude right now. He checks all the boxes, and for me to get him at 8,400 is pretty ridiculous. A guy that I want to talk about, and John, I'd like for you to comment on him, is is it Neesmith? Neesmith?
Yep.
I just don't understand why this guy he's getting no respect from the odds makers.
I don't get it. I don't get it either. I have him on my DFS team as well. He's got an unbelievable approach game. I think he's 9th on tour in strokes gained on the approach. He's first in greens in regulation. First.
Exactly.
Top 20s. He tied for 7th at the Waste Management in Phoenix. And you can get him on the cheap, as you said. I mean, come on.
I don't understand it. And by the way, I have him not just in DFS, but I have him finishing in my top 20, 4-1. 4-1. You can get him to finish just in the top 20. You can get him at 4-1. I think that's the best play on the board heading into Thursday. I think it's ridiculous. And again, I just don't understand why the dude is not getting a lot of respect. So again, just to recap some of the guys that I like heading into this tournament at Bay Hill, Hovland, I have him to win it at 12-1. Hatton, Rory, Zalatoris. I love me some Sam Burns as well. Neesmith for all the reasons I just said. Tringali, Bradley, and Norlander as well. By the way, you can bet that Norlander will finish as the best the best Swede, at plus 155.
Wow.
How about that? Anyhow, so did we just show your DFS lineup, John? Did we put that up? Well, oh, there we go. Here's John. John, break your DFS lineup. Break it down for us, dude. Uh-oh, we lost.
We lost.
We don't have your volume. Did you shut your volume off?
How about now? You hear me?
Okay. Yeah.
Rookie mistake, dude.
Yeah.
Let me rewind it. All right.
So why? Tell
Paul Casey putting very well, even better with his ball striking of late. I think his long game is quite strong. You talk a little bit about long shots going into the greens. I think he's just ready to win. I think he's going at it 28-1 to win this thing. I love me some Harris English, who's been playing god awful the last few weeks, but I think he's cheap. He's bound to turn it around. I think he can do it on a dime this week. Talk about like a kind of sneaky sleeper pick. You don't really think of him as a sleeper, but Tommy Fleetwood, he tied for 44th, which isn't that good, but he lost 6 strokes to the field putting, and that's not very Tommy Fleetwood-like. So I think he'll turn it around. The greens are a lot easier at Bay Hill, so I like Tommy Fleetwood. Been on a Max Homna kick for a while, too. Top 10 in 2 of the last 3 tournaments. Putting fantastic. 6th in putting average. 7th in overall putting on the tour. So expect Max to have a good week. And Mark Leishman, former winner here. He won in 2017. He was the runner-up last year. He's kind of been bad the last maybe 18 months, but has been turning it around of late. 3 top 25 in his last 5 starts. I think with that resurgence of late and his history at Bay Hill, it's not a bad pick in there. And then we talked about Matt at the bottom. So, hey, I won money last week. Let's see if we can keep it going again.
Let's keep it going. And we, of course, as always, we have our monkey knife fight plays that Christina likes to put in for us. All right, so what do you have here? You have DeChambeau and more or less fantasy points. You're saying less. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm fading DeChambeau. In fact,
you are.
I might put some money down that he doesn't make the cut.
All right, so it's funny you should say that because I actually listen. I'm a kind of a go with my gut kind of gambler with no mathematical statistical information to back up anything. But I was actually going to pick DeChambeau to win this tournament.
So why are you doing less fantasy?
I don't know, because it was contra to everything that I thought as I started. After I picked this, then I thought further, and I'm like, you know what? I think with Bryson's like crazy distance, I think he could play Bay Hill pretty well, and he's had good finishes in the past. But anyway, this was my fantasy.
Yeah,
pick.
but here's the problem about the distance is the sand traps. And
True.
and where they're strategically placed,
True.
a lot of guys are not able to go in their bag and get that driver. So so driving distance is not a key metric here. If anything, it's accuracy because the fairways are so tight.
Yeah.
So all right, so how about this, Christina? Bryson, if he finishes in the top 20, I give you a bottle of wine. If he finishes outside the top 20, you give me a bottle of wine.
I like that. And, I'll take that deal. You know what I really would like to see though? I don't know if you're familiar with the sixth hole over at Bay Hill. It's the par five.
Yep.
Yeah, par 5 hole where I think the carry on the. I don't know. Anyway, it's a great hole. I'm anticipating that Bryson. I'd like to see him go for it. It's a par 5 hole. It wraps around the lake. It's the hole that John Daly took an 18 on back in like 98. So I kind of want to see Bryson go up there and just kind of go for the green and give me a show. That's really what I'm looking for.
Which, by the way, if Brett, if you don't mind, can you go back to her last play? Because I agree with her. I agree that Bryson is going to be less 24.5 fantasy points, but I disagree with Hovland, obviously, because I pick him to win this damn thing. So I disagree with you there. But why are you down on Hovland?
You know what? It's one of those things. Listen, I think Hovland is probably the best player in the field. There's no doubt. I just, it's one of those things, Bryson, I don't know. Honestly, it was a little bit of an eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm not gonna lie. There's a little bit that went in there. Let's go to our next. If that's just don't. I mean, there's some strategy in there, but
people are putting hard-earned money on our picks.
Come on,
listen,
man.
don't go with my picks. I'm having some fun. I love Monkey Knife Fight. I think it's a super cool platform. My skill sucks.
So you have Hatton better than Rory. I like that. I'll take that. Less strokes. And then you have Hovland better than. Okay, so this game, this match, this entry, I'm all for it.
See, I know what I'm talking about. Go for it.
This entry, I'm all for it. And that's your Monkey Knife Fight. And again, you could log on to Monkey Knife Fight. And if you put in PFN 365, they'll match your first deposit of $50. If you put in, of course, PFN 365. All right. Any final thoughts before we need to bring Brett in to see if we have any questions.
Hello.
Hi, Brett.
Hey. What's up, guys?
How you doing?
Hey, Brett.
I'm doing good. How cool is that to have Marina Alex on the show?
Do you have by the way, do you have a play? Do you have a pick in the tournament this week?
I took the first play that Christina did, but I did the opposite on those. I'm sorry. I also went less with DeChambeau, but I took Hovland to do more because I too like him in this tournament. At least finish in the top 3.
Yeah, for sure.
So like Christina said, don't listen to her.
Okay.
But yeah, very cool show so far, guys. I mean, Marina Alex, man, superstar on the LPGA Tour.
Yeah, great job getting her, Christina. That was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
love.
So we have some cool questions and comments from a bunch of our viewers. I picked our top 4, our core 4 here. First one, I think we didn't really touch on, but we did feature him in our slide looking ahead to the Masters odds. And that was DJ, who I think is plus 500 or 550 to win the Masters. The question is, what happened to DJ last week? What happened to him?
Yeah, I picked him to win it, and he wet the bed. So, John, what did you see from DJ that?
Not much, frankly. I don't mean to sound sarcastic, but he didn't show me very much. I didn't think he was really into the tournament. I think he struggled early. And listen, that's a tough golf course. I didn't even touch on that before. What did you guys think of the concession? I thought it was awesome.
Well, I thought
Thursday.
Thursday was a lot more difficult day than Friday. And what I was reading was that the pin placement Thursday was so difficult that if a golfer made one bad hit, one bad chip, that it threw them off so bad that they
we talked about it last week. Those runoffs on the green, we saw it all the time.
So everything I was reading was that they changed the pin placement on Friday to make the course a little bit easier because Thursday was just too difficult. That's what I read. But yeah, man, DJ, he just couldn't get it going.
Yeah.
He couldn't get it going at all. I do want to give a shout out to Justin Thomas, JT, because I faded him last week. I put a lot of money down that I felt he was just in a funk for a number of reasons. And many of them we talked about last week. And so, but boy, did he prove me wrong. Ooh.
Yeah, very, very close with Tiger. Obviously had an emotional interview when talking about that incident. Got to wonder how much that played into his focus in the tournament. I mean, it seemed like that maybe helped him a little bit. Looking ahead to our next question to you guys, our crew here. What is more impressive, Morikawa's irons or his poise?
Ooh.
I like his poise.
I like his irons.
I love his irons. Oh my God, everything is pure.
It's
one of
the way, yeah, the way he hits
one
his
of the
irons
best ball
is just-
strikers on the tour. Unbelievable ball striker.
Listen, I think he's the complete package. He's the complete. His poise, his irons, his approach, everything about him. I think he is a star that is going to shine for a very, very long time on this tour.
So when I was watching the tournament this week, and I was kind of making notes, and I wrote next to his name, the Energizer Bunny. He just keeps on going and going and going and going, and it's like on autopilot for him, and it's impressive to watch. Nothing phases him. He's no
cool.
moment is too big. It's very impressive. He's going to win a lot of tournaments.
By the way, I think Michael. I think Michael is the head pro over at why am I drawing a blank right now? The course in Bloomfield, Forest Hills.
Forest Hills.
Yes, I think that's who's asking the question. Is Mike from Forest Hills? Which, by the way, I played a few times last year. New ownership there, man.
Great course.
It was a great course to begin with.
It's hard.
It's very hard, but it's even better, and it's we talk about this all the time, right? Like, and John, you oversee Alpine Country Club. A lot of times, every country club and its members and everybody's different, right? And there's a feel and there's a vibe to every country club and the groups that are there and the members that have decided to, of course, be a part of. And, Forest Hills to me, again, I was out there, I want to say I played 3 or 4 times this past golf season. A very young, a very hip, a very cool, a very laid back, a really group out there. So it's fun. It's a fun time from start to finish. It's not a course that you go and you play and then you get in your car and you come home after. It's a club where you go out there, you play 18 and you want to hang out. You want to stay, you want to hang out, you want to have a few drinks, you want, what I mean? It's like one of those, you want to socialize because
listen, they have a new owner, Rob, and he's kind of cut from that cloth. He's all about having fun. And Jason Fiore is the head pro there, and he does a great job. And it's really a pretty cool place to be around.
All right, Mike from Forest Hills. See, you know what? Our audience, we have a great, high-quality audience. Like just incredible people are asked, real, cool people. Awesome. All right, Mike from Forest Hills. We'll see you next week, too. We got this question here. Is Bryson better off entering the long drive competitions than the PGA Tour events? Guys, can I say something as the resident, super amateur here?
Mm-hmm.
I hate watching this guy play golf.
Totally agree.
Maybe it's because we just talked about the pureness of a Morikawa and on his irons and everything. His swing is so irritating to watch, and I get that a lot of this is analytics driven. At least that's my understanding of him and what he's all about.
Mm-hmm.
But my just from an aesthetic perspective, again, rank amateur, 30-something handicap, so I get it. So take this for what it's worth, but it is, as a casual, it is so irritating to watch him play golf. That being said, what do we feel about this question? Long drive competitions or PGA Tour events for Bryson?
Well, hold on. I want
to lose the long drive.
Christina, what you sent me? Did you just send it to me? Here it is. Oh, you sent this to me today. So Christina sent this to me today. This is pretty interesting here. I want to share this, and appropriate for this question. So back in 2015, and this is Bryson DeChambeau. Okay, he was driving the ball, and this is consistently. He was driving the ball 305. This year, he's driving at 340. Okay. His 3-wood 270 back in 2015, 300 today. So let's just go. His sand wedge 115 back in 2015, 135. He hits his sand wedge 135 yards consistently. That's his average. Pitching wedge 135. Today 170. His 9-iron 148 back in 2015, 185 today. Just to kind of, I'm not going to go through all his clubs, but just to kind of share with you the difference, the night and day in regard to 2015 and his distance now. It's remarkable.
Yeah, the distance on his belt loop has also increased as well.
Whoa,
Sorry.
that's fire.
Sorry for the dig.
That's a low blow.
Apparently, the Bay Hill Hummer is kicking in.
It's empty.
Oh, there you go.
No shit. No shit, it's empty.
Okay, and then we have two quick comments. I always like to end on a positive note because in addition to our educated audience that asks great questions, we also have some fans. Doug Phillips was happy to see Marina on the show with us. Go Marina. And then Rob Axelrod was just checking in, and great to see you guys again. I love these types of comments because it's like that's your loyal fan base right there. You know, like these guys tune in every single week, so you guys must be doing something right.
Awesome, and
that's all for me, folks.
Thank you, Brett. Appreciate you. And appreciate PFN for giving us this platform. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we so appreciate it. We will be back next Tuesday. We're here every Tuesday for you. We will recap Bay Hill, and we will look forward to I should know this. What's the tournament after Bay Hill? Jonathan?
Bay Hill.
Oh, okay.
God.
All right, guys.
I don't know off the top of my head. Sorry.
Thanks for being team players. Appreciate you guys. Anyway, we will be here every Tuesday night, and we will recap the previous tournament. We will look forward to the tournament that
we need like some going out music.
Yeah, we do. Don't you have a soundboard?
Yeah,
but it's all vulgar expressions. I really can't play it.
I've been vulgar the entire show. Why stop now?
Next time I'll have music.
And, again, we opened up the show and we dedicated the show to Andrea Evans. And again, one of our favorite caddies, and he's a caddy at Liberty National, and that is Goose. And he's a very dear friend of ours. And unfortunately, his beautiful daughter, Andrea Evans, passed away last night from cancer. And so we wanted to dedicate this show to her. So again, God bless and Godspeed. And guys, there they are. This is when they came to our studio pre-pandemic when we were doing our radio show inside the studio. And so it was so nice and such a blessing that we got a chance to meet her. So, and again, we just want to thank everybody out there for listening to the show. If you missed any portion of the show, you can go back and watch it. It will live on all our social media platforms, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, you name it. Again, everybody enjoy the tournament at Bay Hill. Hopefully we've given you some winners. And again, we'll be back on Tuesday night right here on PFN 365. Take care.